Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Jehuti Deep Dive Lectures. Today, I chose the topic of anger and why it is a necessary step in any spiritual transformation. And to demonstrate this, I chose to speak about Sekhmet, the ancient Egyptian goddess of war and healing. Now, Sekhmet's name comes from the ancient Egyptian word Sekhem, which is the masculine of Sekhmet. Sekhem means power. And this is basically what anger is, and we are going to see how. So, when I knew for the first time about Sekhmet, I was like, how come war and healing are put together with one deity? And of course, before I answer how this happens, let me clarify, when we say deity in any ancient civilization, this is just an archetype of energy. The ancients used to be such simple people that they did not get, abstract concepts. So the wise ones, in this case, the priests in the temples, were guided to give the archetype a persona, to personify it, and to put it together, this divinity with this divinity, in the form of a story, creating mythology. So these are not actual entities that the ancients believed in. This is all just symbolism and a personification of certain energies that live within all of us. So when we say that someone is connected to a certain deity, it just means that it's a very active part in them. We are all different parts. We are made of different parts. And these different parts are the archetypes that the universe is made with. So, coming back to war and healing. Anger is the starter. You can say it's like the yeast in any dough. It's going to make everything ripe and get you ready to get going. In order to start, let me show you this chart. You see, this is a scientific measurement of emotions. So you see in the lower parts, you have all the negative emotions. At the higher steps, you have all the positive emotions and feelings. And midway, you see there's courage, and right below it, there's pride, and there is anger. Now, you see, anger, pride, and courage are the gateway to change. And this is why anger is necessary. So, in order to answer the question of war and healing, how they both come together, let us look at anger. Anger is the main emotion of Mars, the planet. It's the main emotion of the Aries sign. This is the starter of anything. It's the first sign out there. It's the starter of everything. Nothing can happen before Mars takes action. So, going back and referring back to the chart. Now, we can live in all forms of grief and apathy and loneliness, whatever it is, the negative emotion. The status will only change once you get the motivation to do something to change the situation. And this, know it or not, believe it or not, usually includes anger. So, you have a negative situation, there's an abuse taking place, there's poverty, there's whatever it is. Unless you get angry enough to change the situation, nothing is going to happen. You have to find that power within you to say, no, thank you, enough for me. Or you have to find that power in you to stop being passive and say yes to the universe. Yes, I'm going to go for this. I'm not going to hide myself anymore. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to change myself and I'm going to change the world. And I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to stand up for my dreams. All of this is a form of anger, believe it or not. So in that case, you see now Mars, the get going, the drive, the motivation, starts at the end of something else. You have to get angry at something you don't like. Sekhmet is the arm of Maat. Maat is the goddess of balance, justice, law, order, and harmony in ancient Egypt. She's the balance of everything. So Sekhmet will only appear when that scale is tipped off, when the feather of Ma'at is no longer valid within the heart of a person or a matter. Sekhmet brings upon destruction and fury and the storms of change. She usually destroys things, for in nothingness lays eternal and endless balance. So you see, unless there is an end to something, a death of something, there is no Sekhmet, there is no initiation, there is no starting of something new. Mars, in a different form, is the masculine that comes with the Venus to make new baby. So in that form, look around you. Unless something else is being born into your life, you're not really doing anger in its divine form. Power brings change. And now it's time to answer. How do you connect war and healing? Now I think it's become a bit clearer. So, on the outside, since everything within us is just a reflection on everything that is on the outside, and vice versa. Inwardly, Mars is the planet that causes inflammation, and people just freak out about it. Oh, Mars, oh my God, it's transiting this, it's transiting that, and it's going to cause inflammation. But people don't pay attention to the fact that inflammation is the start of your healing. How else would you have known that something wrong was taking place inside? Usually, when it's just a spiritual problem, when it's just an emotional problem, you don't really pay attention to it until your body starts screaming its ass off and tells you, oh my God, I'm going to give you this pain because you haven't been paying attention. So inflammation is the sign of your body showing this anger. And if you work with it, if you take this as an opportunity for growth, I'm not saying don't go to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I am a shaman. So I am a healer, but in a very, these days, in a very non-conventional way. But maybe if you work with it in a holistic manner and see what your body is trying to tell you, what is this anger? What is this disease? Where is it coming from? What is it trying to tell you to fix about your inner world, your outer world, your status quo? That's inflammation. It's telling you to go to war on an inward level. And in the same way, going to war in the outside world, when there is a problem, when someone has ripped you off, when someone has abused you, or if someone has been abused by you, it's their right now to come at you with their anger and make things even. But How do I know when I'm supposed to become angry and when I am supposed to keep the peace? Now, keeping the peace, Maat, there's harmony, there's win-win, there's justice for everyone. And I cannot, without proper coaching, tell you in a general way how to immediately know. But if there is a win-win situation, why the anger? There's no use there. If you are standing up for yourself and others are also standing up for themselves and everybody is co-living, you are coexisting and co-thriving, then anger has no place here. You're already living in heaven. You can go back to my episode about heaven and hell and see how this is something that we live on an everyday basis. So all I can tell you is, if the anger is not about you going out to change something, if you're not dealing with it as a spark to take as a wave, to ride on it and make something happen for yourself, for someone else, for others, for the world, for the planet, if it's just an attitude of negativity, then this is not divine anger. Anger, true anger, is what you will take. Remember that spectrum of emotions? If it's a vehicle to take you from the negative emotions to the positive emotions, it's not the right thing for you to do. Now, I am someone who's been initiated spontaneously into the energy of Sekhmet back in 2015. And I do use this energy to help people heal, and first and foremost, myself, every day since 2015. And I would love if you go to my website and check my story of how that initiation came about. And you will also see the rest of my story, my never ending transformation, and also my novel that has a lot of teachings within it on Sekhmet and anger and balance, and also services if you wish to start a journey of transformation with me. Now, see you next week. Take care.